Welcome back to another Lunch Break Friday.
You almost said Made You Watch, didn't you?
I probably almost did.
I heard it.
I'm Adam Mock.
I'm Melanie Weir.
And we also host a show called Made You Watch,
A podcast.
So we get confused sometimes. But today on Lunch Break Friday, since we couldn't do the hot sauce challenge like Jess and Carly did because
I'm constantly ill.
And I have acid reflux because I'm 40-something, I chose not to do it, and so did she.
Yeah.
So we decided to go a different route and play Jenga. Now, this is Donkey Kong Jenga. We're not going to do the Donkey Kong part. We might save that for another episode because it's involved. It's involved.
I was about to ask you what the instructions were. I see the little man.
You basically take little Marios and have to move them up the girders as you spin, and then you have to take Donkey Kong off and put the. It's a whole. It's a good
way to make Jenga fun for sober people.
It's 2 games in one. So it's like a board game mixed with Jenga. But we decided, since we're going to be asking each other questions as we play Jenga, we're just going to play Jenga.
Adam,
Yes.
What was the biggest way dating has changed since you were in the game?
Let's see. Biggest way dating changed.
Because Adam has been with his girlfriend Mindy for, you said recently, you said like 20 years?
Going on 20 years.
Yeah! So that's a long time.
I think how dating has changed really is, I think people are a lot more careful about what they say to one another. We used to be very open and kind of, I don't know, sexualize each other a little bit more. And I think nowadays we're much more cautious about making someone feel hurt.
That's nice,
And
though.
I kind of think that's how dating has changed. It's not just hitting on a girl at a bar anymore. It's getting to know someone on a different level than when I was growing up. It was just you went out with a girl, you went to a movie, and maybe you made out, And it's like nowadays people wait for shit. People take their time and actually kind of get to know each other on an emotional level rather than just a carnal level.
That's an optimistic take in the age of dating apps. Listen well. It turns out dating maybe has just always been shitty.
Oh, dating's tricky as hell. I can't imagine being back on the dating scene right now.
I've only been in a relationship for 5 years, but also same.
Okay, I'm going to ask my first question.
Yeah.
Movies or theater? Like live theater?
Oh, Adam.
Which is your favorite?
You might make me betray my people here because the thing is, I think I might be saying movies.
Okay.
Just not as an art.
Okay.
I can't possibly begin to rank the arts.
Oh, no.
But as in terms of personal enjoyment, I don't like having to leave my home, which I think is a really a sad statement about everything. But also, I think it's just because I'm at a point in my life where I spent my childhood obsessed with theater and not really all that into movies. And now I'm at a point in my life where I'm starting to appreciate movies. So I have a feeling it's just a right now answer.
Would you rather go to let's say a Broadway show over a movie you're really looking forward to in theater? What would your in theater thing be?
You would really have to give me more specific examples, I think.
Okay, the Little Mermaid on Broadway versus the live action one that's coming out that you're excited for. Which would you rather go? Which would you be more comfortable sitting and watching?
Adam, you know what? This actually answers the question very definitively because my answer is still The Little Mermaid on Broadway. So never mind, I take it all back. I'm obsessed with movies right now, but theater wins.
There you go.
There's something more magical in live performance.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, I'm a film major. You were a theater major, so
It's hard. It was a hard question, and I did not want to betray my people. I think down at the face of it, the truth is I just like stories.
Let's face it, Broadway's all over movies now anyway.
Yeah.
So it's getting there.
I didn't write this today. I wrote this several weeks ago when I thought we were doing the hot sauce challenge. What's the gayest thing you've ever done?
The gayest thing I've ever done.
Interpret that however you will.
Well, you don't use that term as a derogatory, so are you just saying as a guy, people would go, is he gay?
If you were watching Modern Family, there would either be a joke about how this is the gayest thing Mitch or Cam has ever seen, or I don't know, maybe you kissed a dude. Well,
no, I never kissed a dude.
well, then the answer, where your answer must go is clear.
I'm trying to think. I never really had a moment that was man, that was really gay of me. But I will say I've had moments where when I was younger, I would sit there and go, am I gay? I remember being a little kid and you wrestle with a friend or something and you're like, huh, that's interesting. And then you go, no, I'd much rather be doing this with a girl. Like, honestly, I
When
had
you're
that.
a teenager, it's just like, am I gay or do I just enjoy contact?
No, it was just like, you get hit in the right place. You're like, oh, wow. Oh, I'd much rather a girl be doing that. And I knew I wasn't gay very young in life. It never appealed to me, but I always understood why it would.
Yeah.
I can appreciate the male form. Let's put it that way.
And that is why it's always healthy to question your sexuality when you're young.
So that's probably the gayest thing I ever did, which really wasn't that gay. Sorry.
I love that answer. No, don't be sorry. That's a great answer.
How old were you when you started actually being in stage shows?
Oh, okay. Do you want to count?
It could be school. It can be.
Do you want to
if
count
you joined
music
like some theater thing?
Do you want to count music reviews, or are you going my first full-length show?
Like a full-length show.
I was 11.
Oh wow.
It was the first. No, that was a music review. My first middle school show was still a musical review. It was a theater show, so it kind of counts.
Okay.
And then the summer before, I was at Summer Stage and I did another music review because when you're 11, they have you in the apprentice program.
Okay.
And most of the time you spend at that theater camp for like 2-3 weeks is like learning to act, sing, dance, and storytell. Those are the 4 classes they have you in. At the end, you do a presentation.
Gotcha.
So that was my first thing. And then the next summer when I was 12,
Okay.
I was in the Rising Stars and they let you do a show and we did the 101 Dalmatians.
I didn't know that they made a musical.
It was a junior musical. It was cute.
Okay. So you got the next question.
Yes. I don't remember writing this. I just wrote James Bond ? So we're gonna skip that because I don't remember what the context was.
Are we just trying to figure out who the next James Bond is? Because
No.
they've already said today it's not going to be a Gen Z.
That's fine.
They're going with an older.
Why on earth would it be Gen Z? Gen Z is younger than me.
Well, a lot of people were saying like, what if we made like almost like a prequel?
I'm
style.
like the oldest Gen Z gets.
I like older James Bond because he's just an older dude who's not dealing with his problems.
James Bond should be older. James Bond is like 30 or 40. That is a man who is deep into his I'm almost at my midlife crisis.
Yeah, you want a charming older guy.
That guy's not in his 20s.
I don't think a young guy can be worldly charming because they haven't really traveled the world yet. What would be your dream role?
Well,
If you could be in anything, or have you already done it?
Because I did.
Okay, I wasn't sure when I wrote that question. I had a feeling I knew who you were going to answer.
My entire life, I have been worried that I already peaked because I got to play my dream role my senior year of high school. I got to be Elle in Legally Blonde. And
my gosh.
that was a role when that musical came out. I listened to the songs and I was like, this was made for me. They're all in my range. I can hit all the belts perfectly. And good luck finding someone at our school who could play that character better.
Now, did they use a real dog, or you got a little puppet?
They did use a real dog. Oh, she was a sweet.
You had a real bruiser, huh?
She smelled terrible. She was a really. It wasn't her fault. She was a sweetheart. She was a really old dog. I can't remember her name.
Aww.
She shook the whole time and she smelled terrible, but she was cute.
That's adorable.
We had little playtimes where I had to get to know her so she could get used to me. And
That's
then
so sweet.
one time it was actually really sweet because I was like on the stage and like there was a big commotion going on because it was one of the first time we were rehearsing a group number.
Yeah.
And you could tell it was making her nervous. And then she wandered over and she sat at my feet and I was like, we bonded.
That's so cute.
It was
adorable.
cute.
I always wondered if they like used a real dog on stage for that.
My other dream role is Ariel, which I still haven't gotten.
That
to
makes
play.
sense. That's your favorite movie. So.
Yes.
All right, your question.
It is my question.
Next.
Did you ever almost die on a construction job?
y-
Or if not, what is the closest you have come?
Not on a construction job. I was cleaning off my roof once, and I have a New York style, like, it's not a brownstone, but that similar flat top roof that just has a gutter at the end of it. So you can walk straight off. And I'm on the edge of the roof cleaning off my gutters, and I slip. And my feet, literally, if this is my knees, the edge of the roof is by my butt. So I am now like this, flat against the roof. And I was so, I liked heights before that. Gave me a crippling fear of heights.
Damn!
It took me 10 minutes to figure out how to back up. No one was home. So if I fell about 30 feet onto a concrete backyard or a car. And no one would have found me all day.
And yet he worked construction, so
And-
it just goes to show it can happen anywhere.
But I have been electrocuted a ton of times.
Cool.
I've been electrocuted so many times, like you almost get used to it after a while, and that's not something I ever wanted to be able to say.
All right.
I did have to pull a main feed off a street once, which is like those giant cables that feed buildings. and I'm holding a live one in this hand and a live one in this hand, and there's a third one. And as the guy's handing me the cable, because we have to put it into a new device, it slips out of my hand, stops just before it hits metal. No, it was 4:30 in the morning. Again, no one would have found us till morning. It was scary. Oh, man.
The tower's getting tough. Why don't, since we're ahead of the game, why don't we leave this for a second? You ask me a question first, and then it'll be okay or not.
Okay.
I had a plan.
Name a movie that truly scared the crap out of you as a child.
Oh! I have an answer for this. No, that's a show. Courage the Cowardly Dog did scare the crap out of me as a child. Jaws!
Jaws.
My
that makes sense.
father loves Jaws.
Jaws is
Do you
awesome.
know
That's
how many times I've seen Jaws? Do you know how young I was the first time I saw any scene from Jaws?
Really?
I was like 4.
Oh.
Jaws was terrifying.
I love Jaws.
And now I watch it, I'm like, this is the corniest thing I've ever seen.
I love that. That movie is.
I think it might be my dad's favorite movie.
It's so well put together. It's.
I've never seen it all the way through because it freaked me out so much when I was
It's a
little.
brilliantly crafted movie, and the fact that the shark barely worked and they made it one of the scariest movies of the 70s was like top tier for me.
That is cool. Also, like, Jaws made a lot of people like mean to sharks and like made them endangered and made shark hunting a cool thing, and like that's not cool.
Oh, people didn't go to the beach that summer.
That's a different kind of
Beaches
scary.
literally lost visitors.
But there's actually, that's sad, but there's actually like a whole, like there's like a thing that's like, yeah, after Jaws came out, a lot more people became like angry at sharks, wanted to hunt sharks, wanted to kill sharks. And,
Do you know the shark's name?
I used to.
Bruce.
Was
that one of the sharks from Finding Nemo?
Yes.
It was.
The main one, right?
The one who goes, fish are French.
No, food. Well, they all say that. When you were little, what did you want to be when you grew up?
I wanted to be an animator.
Ah!
I was big into art. I loved drawing cartoons all day long. I mean, I just sat and I'd watch Warner Brothers or Disney, whatever, and I would just copy. And I was able to literally copy anything I looked at pretty accurately.
What
and
a talented child.
Then I found out that animation takes freaking forever to actually do.
Very true.
And I'm very lazy. So I found filmmaking instead and found, oh, this is a lot easier. And then I found out, well, that's a lot too. So I became a writer. So it was just, I degraded until I found what I'm actually like,
what you actually
just ready to do with my life.
I think I did kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
I was like, I want to act and write and make my own shows and do all this. And eventually, like, the job market kind of thinned me out. And I was like, okay, you're a writer now. And now look, we circled back around. This is not acting, but we're doing something. And we did act.
Yeah. Okay.
We made a show. Watch Please Help.
Please help.
So I think it's
I'm
gonna
going
fall.
James Lipton on this one. We're going inside the actor's studio.
Oh, okay.
What is your favorite curse word? We may have to bleep this.
That's a good question. I really like curse words. I think they're fun seasoning for your language. My mother would be horrified to hear me say
They're
this.
50% of my dialogue most days.
I have to leave in the rule that you should use them sparingly, only because I do want them to still have impact when I
That
use
makes
them.
sense.
I think fuck is, honestly, because it's the most versatile. Did you know it is the only word in the English language that can be used as a,
Everything.
as an interfix?
What's an interfix?
So, you know how words have prefixes and suffixes?
Yes.
Fuck can be used as an interfix. Abso-fucking-lutely.
Oh, okay.
It's the only word in the English language that does that, as far as I'm aware. If you know another one, please let me know.
Huh. The more you know.
Soapbox time.
Soapbox time.
What's wrong with kids today? Pick one thing.
I'm going to sound like an old man. I think this is a good thing, but I think it gets taken too far. I think kids are a little too soft. Which I think is a very good thing. I think the fact that
You gotta do the Jenga.
bullying is looked down upon a lot more nowadays.
Yes.
Things like that shouldn't, you should never make another human being uncomfortable. But
On
at the
purpose.
same time, you should learn how to take a joke.
Okay.
That-
No, I'll take that.
That's what I mean by that. I think kids have lost the art of sarcasm.
Culture. That's not true.
A lot of times I'll make jokes and people will just be like, I'm kidding. And they take it as, no, that's exactly what you're saying. And it's like, no, that's not what I was saying at all. I'm being silly with you.
I wonder if that's actually, and this either thing could be true. I wonder if that's actually a thing, or if you just know a lot of neurodivergent people.
Being one, I probably do.
It's just an interesting question because you're like, oh, people take things too literally. I'm like, oh, it's a common trait of neurodivergence.
I never thought about it that way. It's just growing up, you messed with people all the time. Everything was a joke. And you have to remember, I was a construction worker since I was 15. It was a family business. So I was constantly like on like a weird playground of just stopping, like basically getting back at the bully before the bully would get to me, because we would just sit there and mess with each other all day.
Yeah.
So I had a very different upbringing that gave me a very thick skin.
Yeah. And
know?
I think to what you're saying, there's kind of like a pendulum effect that goes on. Mm. So it's like people were too mean, and now the pendulum is swinging back because we have to bring it back because we have to remind people that was too mean. But it's a pendulum, so it's going to swing a little too far in the other direction before it settles.
Everything ebbs and flows.
Yeah.
Look at music. I mean, rap took over, and then in the 90s, and then suddenly the grunge movement, and you had rock again, and it kind of reinvented itself, and then rap turned into like dirty South kind of rap. Like everything changes and goes away, comes back, and that's just cultural. That's just a cultural thing, and I think there's been times where people are like, buck up, pull yourself up by your bootstraps, and blah, 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 like the boomer style. Yeah. And then there's other times where you're like, no, take your time, relax. And that's more this generation.
Okay, Rob. You go when you feel like it.
Yeah, and I think we're getting to a point where we're going to hit a nice middle ground with that.
For a little.
And we'll all kind of be a little more sane for a little while, and then it's just going to be...
People are going to start being mean again.
Because
I think that's actually...
we came pretty damn close in this country.
That's human nature, I think.
With the orange era, I like to call it.
I don't think that's over. I think that we've reached a little lull right now, but I am terrified that is not over.
And the internet has turned us into assholes.
Yeah.
It really has to. Even though it's our bread and butter, I look at some of the stuff people post, and I'm like, you didn't read the room right, man.
Don't think the internet is turning us into assholes. I think the internet...
It's showing us our inner assholes.
has shown a light on ways that we didn't know people could be assholes before.
Yeah.
Now that there's a big shining light on it, we're trying to fix those things.
Exactly. So...
Time is a forever march.
Just be good to one another. Bill and Ted it. Be excellent to one another.
Yeah.
That's it. What's your favorite time of day?
This has changed recently. It used to be like really, really late at night. Like 12 or 1 in the morning. Because it's just the time when like nobody expects anything of you. It's like now I think my favorite time of day is earlier than that. It's a little more like the hours between 8 and 11 p.m. or 12 p.m.
Oh, you like prime time.
For the same reason. I do, actually. It's just, it is the time where everyone expects you to be sitting down and chilling out and doing nothing, and you're expected to be sitting down and chilling out and doing nothing, and there's no little voice in your head going, you should be doing something right now.
I like that.
Also, my body hates the morning. What's right with kids today?
That they're learning to be much cooler to one another.
Yeah, and that was
honestly,
a short question.
That kids are learning to just not be dicks all the time, and I kind of appreciate it because you know what? It's hard enough being a kid and finding yourself without people constantly messing with you.
Yeah.
And that's why I said earlier, I appreciate niceness. But every once in a while, I think we got to get a little rough with each other. At least in a joking sense. Like, it's fun to mess with, like, we'll mess with each other sometimes, and I'll be like, did I take that too far? And you're like, no, that was hilarious.
I feel like, there are things that I know I can be made fun of for, and I almost appreciate it because it keeps me humble. If nobody makes fun of you, you turn into Elon Musk.
I mean, I constantly worry that I say the wrong thing to people. I always ask, like, was that offensive? Was this offensive? Because, I'm used to just speaking my mind, and being on the internet now,
that's another neurodivergent thing.
You have to be very
constantly worried about what other people will think of what you say because you don't think before you talk.
Yeah, totally. What was the thing my dad used to always say? Make sure brain is engaged. No, make sure brain is charged before engaging your mouth. Or something along those lines. And it's true. Like, I always just blurted out whatever was in my brain, and then I would go,
sometimes it's things people don't need to know.
Yeah, and people would, like, I would hurt feelings, and I just didn't, I was around, like, tough dudes all day. So like when I would go back to college and like make a joke to one of my friends thinking I'm still on a job site after my summer job, they'd be like, dude, that's so mean of you. Why would you do? Why would you say that? I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm just used to it.
There's also something to be said for code switching, which is like switching how you treat different people in different situations.
Yeah.
I don't know what the thing to be said is. That was the end of the thing.
What's your least favorite time of day?
Ugh, the morning.
What time of morning though?
Between 8 and 9 a.m.
Yeah.
That's when I'm supposed to be awake. And it's also when my body is like, if you try to get out of bed right now, what we're going to do is we're going to throw up.
Been there. Oh man, we're getting there, man.
This might be the end of this interview, Adam.
This is one toke over the line.
I had one.
Dun, dun, dun,
I
dun,
had
dun,
one in mind,
dun.
but I was like, surely this won't collapse the tower.
That's a middle piece.
I know.
Oh no.
It's this or nothing, Adam.
Over the top.
I think this one's gonna do it.
Go
honestly.
over the top. Oh!
Interview over, which is good because I was out of good questions.
Jenga!
Woohoo!
Oh, that was fun.
Actually, my last one. This is purely because I want to know if you could only if you could shapeshift into what animal, what would it be and why? Mine's a cat.
Oh,
Or a bird. I actually haven't decided.
that's tricky.
I'm gonna pick up the pieces because they're driving me nuts.
I'd love to be able to fly. For sure. I lost Mel. I'd love to be able to fly. Maybe like a hawk or something. Like something kind of badass. Like, you know those falcons you keep on your arm?
Land on your arm.
And just
that would
like
suit you.
just be like, Xerxes, you know what I want. And the thing flies off and like comes back with a beer or something.
We also know that if Adam ever got a hawk, he'd name it Xerxes and train it to bring him beers.
It's a Family Guy joke.
Oh.
I think the hawk and him steal a car.
Damn it.
Oh, man.
Would you train a hawk to bring you beers?
Oh, hell yeah. I mean, I don't know if their little claws would like dig into the can, but...
Shit. Then you'd have to shotgun.
My second choice would probably be like a wolf. I always liked wolves when I was a kid. That was like my favorite animal. And I just kind of like the look of them was so badass.
I feel like I picked almost the tiny versions of everything you picked. Because I was like either a cat, which is a house pet, and like a wolf is a dog, basically.
Yeah.
Or like a sparrow.
A sparrow?
Which is a tiny bird.
Why do you want to be a tiny bird?
Because they make their nests out of... Honestly, I should pick a better bird. But I feel...
Pick a better bird.
I feel a deep connection to the sparrow. Because they live in the city. And they're not supposed to be where they are because they came over from England, and they make their nests out of whatever garbage they can find.
And I've seen your desk.
Yeah!
Yeah, pretty much.
I'm gonna get a tattoo of a sparrow one day, like maybe like here or something. Give me encouragement, because I've been saying this for years.
That's Jenga, folks.
I hope you enjoyed your lunch and this break on a Friday, and lunch break Fridays.
Play Jenga. It's fun.
It is fun.
It's stressful as hell, but it's fun.
And also, serious tip, if you want to play it while drinking, write little truth or dare things on the blocks, and whatever one they pull out, they have to do. That adds an extra layer of fun, because like there are certain blocks people are going to want to avoid.
Yep. So, until next time.
I've been Melanie Weir.
I've been Adam Mock.
And we did not just make you watch a podcast.
No,
we just played Jenga.
We just played Jenga.
Enjoy the rest of your Friday.
Have a good Friday, folks.